welcome everybody to this edition of Strong Perspective Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Keith Armstrong, along with
Uncle Spoke.
And Damon
along with
Armstrong.
and our special
Ken
guest
Johnson.
tonight. Okay.
Ken Johnson.
All right. Hey, Ken Johnson.
Welcome, brother. Welcome.
Relax, man. You got it.
Thank you.
Look. You're a high pressure guy, so we got you, man. Got you.
Okay.
Hey, this is
Sounds
Strong
good.
Perspective Podcast. What we're going to be doing tonight is we're not going to try to sway you on your political point, but we're going to give you our perspective on political points. We may not do it for the whole show, but we're going to do it enough that you'll understand where each and every one of us is coming from. Do a little bit of housekeeping. This is Strong Perspective Podcast. So do us a favor, go to our YouTube channel by the same name, like, share, and subscribe. Build up our numbers so we can get into the algorithm. More people can be reached, and also, money situation come into matters. You feel what I'm saying? But like I always say, I'm going to start this show like I always do. This is a conversational show, and this basically where it comes and men and women come onto this platform, and we speak about and we communicate and we tell and we listen and we basically show you how to have a conversation, how we have a conversation. And it's young and old, so it's not just old heads like you see today, right? Even though, everybody might be spring chickens at heart, but we take it from every place, every gender, and that's how we do things. With that being said, Jaquari, how was your day today, sir?
Well, I stumbled through the day, man, but I caught my balance and made it look pretty, so I ended on a good note.
Cool. Damon, how was your day today?
That's a hard act to follow, man. But my day was good, man. I spent time with my grandbaby, man. Me and her was doing the ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, and all that, man. And she kept me occupied, bro. And that was a good thing.
So when you said that 1, 2, 3, I was giving old school rap.
Right.
Ken Johnson, welcome to the show, man. I introduced you to my brothers, my partners in crime, and you're a good friend of mine, brother. Welcome to the show. How was your day today?
My day was beautiful, man. Every day I'm looking for the best points of life. It was beautiful. I get to spend time with my grands, and they get to help me out with the technology. Hey, what better day could I have?
No doubt. But welcome, man.
Welcome, brother.
Thank
you.
you.
You and I met maybe 16 years ago. And I think why don't we do this? Ken, give us a little short synopsis of who you are and what you've been doing with your life.
Okay. Well, I'm a veteran. I served in the military for a number of years, and retired from reserve duty for 23 years. And I was a member of the NYPD, retired from there, and came down to the Carolinas to work in education. And that's where I got to meet my good friend, Keith. And ever since then, we've had just a great relationship. If I need some advice, I can go to him, and vice versa. If he needs some advice, he can go to me. And we've always shared that that camaraderie that comes with part of being in law enforcement, and it's been great.
Okay. Just to reinforce what Ken was saying. I met the first day that I like I said, you guys know, I'm retired law enforcement. Was a Wake County Sheriff Deputy for 22 years, 30 years altogether in law enforcement, but there's 22 years. And the first day I worked mainly on patrol, but then I moved to school resource. And I was at East Wake High School, but once the first day I was on, I met Ken, and what's so funny about it is we were called to, oh man, I forget the name of the school, but it was alternative school. It was a bomb threat, right? And just in the synopsis, the kid was on the phone, right? And he called in a bomb threat to his school. Was this or was it another middle school? And that's where I met Ken. We found out that we did some triangulation, and we found out that the phone was the kids, and we went to a school, and then I saw the NYPD magic of interrogation. They got two ways to interrogate. One way we ain't gonna speak on. Another way in which he really exhibited, and I listened to him, and I gave him kudos, was the way that he asked the questions. And before I knew it, and I don't think it had to do with age. I think he could do this with adults. He had this kid pretty much admitting to everything he did in life. You understand what I'm saying? And I had to dap him up with it before. That was a little story I wanted to give you. But that was my first day as school resource officer at East Wake High School. You remember that, Ken?
Oh, I do. And actually, I had just been on the job with Wake County maybe a couple of weeks in during that time. And I was just getting my feet wet with dealing with young kids, because most of the time I dealt with adults. I was in a specialized unit, and we dealt with adults. So I didn't have a lot of time to really deal with high school kids or middle school or elementary school kids for that matter. But yeah, it's the same technique, you know.
Hey, look, I always, like I said, what the funny thing about it is, because his school, the school that I worked at, was one of how many 12 schools that you had at the time? And
at that time I had actually 29 schools.
29,
counting elementary schools. Yeah.
Okay. And that's the funny thing about it. I would run into him because I was at high school, and the high school I was at was a monster high school. You know, just so happened. I knew about the high school I was in there because I was on patrol in that area, east side of Wake County. So a lot of the kids, all the bad kids that I was dealing with at the school, I was in their house before on patrol. I was in their houses. Mm-hmm. So it was an easy transition for me to try to be a mentor, but them knowing that I was a no-nonsense dude, period. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. A couple of them said, "Hey, man, I saw you come in and arrest my dad for jumping on my mom." You know, and I'm like, apologetic, like, "Yeah, man, I'm sorry that had to be that way." He said, "No, man.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Huh?
That was a good thing." You know what I'm saying? He said, "That was a good thing, Deputy Armstrong." He said, "I appreciate you for that." You know, and he even said, yeah, and he changed too. Because the situation, I remember what it was, you know, he was bullying his wife and terrorizing her. So when I came in, it's zero, and Ken will tell you, it's zero tolerance when it comes to domestic violence. If I see a mark, if I see anything, right, and everybody confirmed that this was going on, either party was going to jail. You know what I'm saying? Any marks, right? And
exactly
up until that point, it was left up to because it was 97, so it had the zero tolerance had been in effect for a year. So the father expected us to come in, take a report, and leave. No, I sat him down and said, "Hey, listen, you got to go." I told him this before anything. I said, "If I find any marks or anything like that, you got to go." And he was confident because he like I said, he thought I was just gonna leave. Man, the woman had a busted lip, and her eye was swelling up. I looked at her. I said, "Did he do this?" She said, "Yeah." I turned around, put him in cuffs. He looked at me terrified. He said, "I'm going to jail." I said, "Did you jump on her?" You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the dumbest. You just told me you did. And I just told you what I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? So the kid was bad. He was a knucklehead. But that day he thanked me though. You know what I mean? I'm sorry to go all up into that, man, but it was funny, just as far as the job is concerned. But before we get into the meat of what we're doing, I don't know if you guys seen, and I want to get your comment on, quick comment on this. The young lady, the sister in Chicago. The sister in Chicago, where she called for law enforcement because she thought somebody was breaking in.
Sonya Massey. Right.
Sonya Massey, right? She thought somebody was breaking in.
Yeah.
And ended up being shot by the responding officer, right?
Yeah.
Because he said, now they had to wait for the body cam images to come out to confirm what he said, right? Because he had his body camera turned off, but the guy who was his backup had his turned on. He said that Miss Massey tried to throw boiling water on him. Now, Ken, I'm asking you, is that because he was standing on the other side of the couch? Is that a cause, in your opinion, just your opinion, for deadly force?
No.
Okay.
No. And I know, I'm pretty sure that officer was not trained to come to the conclusion that would give him cause to do that.
Yeah.
There's many things that he could have done. The simplest thing is if he thought that in his mind, he could have just retreated. He could have backed up. It's kind of, it just goes back to, whatever type of process that they're using when they hire officers, to go out and work in the field. You have to vet the officers. I can remember when I went on, there were over 70,000 people took the exam. It was a civil service exam. And they only chose like 2,000 people to go to the academy. The psychological, it took all day. The psychological exam that part of it was like 8 hours. And so, it just behooves me on how an officer could be so unstable, actually, to be able to get that job where he has to police others. And we has to police communities, not only of his ethnicity, but of other ethnicities. I mean, that's something that department really has to look at, take a deep dive into it, and revise their training, I think, in my opinion.
You know what bothers me?
I really don't think. Hold on. I mean, how many departments had he worked in such a short period
That's
of
what I was
time?
going to say, Jacquard. But
That's number one, and just from that alone, man, the frequency of his job changes and everything, man, that he should have been on, put on the no-fly list, man. Seriously, I mean,
he should have.
He slaughtered that woman, man. He slaughtered that woman, and he felt confident enough that he was going to get away with it. That he told his partner not to administer first aid.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, me being a cynical American man, I'm thinking that this is not the first time he's done it.
I
Well,
think that
no.
now I don't know his background, whether or not he had some officer involved shooting. You know what I mean?
In his case, it doesn't necessarily need to be officer involved, man.
You're right. You're right.
You
Well,
know,
I
Damon,
think,
let me get Damon
yeah,
first, Ken.
yeah. Go ahead, Dave.
No, the first thing I thought about was, I mean, we saw everything was messed up, man. How he went about how he went about the work, but the thing that struck me most is, well, y'all ex-law enforcement, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you see a threat coming at you, isn't it send a mask? You know what I'm saying? Don't you shoot at the body first?
But
Yeah.
but the point is though, and then that and it was not a deadly threat because he was not 2 feet away from her.
I know.
He was across the room.
Right
See,
here, and I watched. I struggled through and I watched it, but my point is, wasn't that an execution because he shot her in the head? You know what I'm saying? Shot her in the face.
no. Let me just say
Yeah.
no, and I'll let you comment also. It has nothing to do with you have a specific place to shoot if you feel you're in danger. It is
Okay.
if it's a deadly shooting situation. You really what you're trying to do is stop that action, period. You understand?
Mhm.
If somebody's coming at you with a knife or a gun, it's not, oh, did you shoot him in the chest? No, you have to stop him from harming you or somebody else. Go ahead, Ken.
No, that's true. And with the trainer, the actually center mass would have been the best target. The head is probably the hardest part of the
Yeah.
body to hit if you're shooting at someone. But in that case, just like Keith said, there was no justification really, in my mind, for him to take that shot. Um, and afterwards, after taking it, trying to concoct a story to justify it, I just don't really see it. And I can see why the public would look at it and frown upon law enforcement for that. You know, but I like to say that in my 20 years of service, I would say there are less people like that than a majority. It's a small minority, but it only takes one.
Yeah. Damon, you wanted to follow up with something?
As I was thinking about it, the thing that struck me is that his reason, to me, his reasoning because she rebuked him in the name of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And what did he say? Say it again or something like that.
No.
But the woman, the bottom line is it was an execution to me.
I mean, from the second body camera, first of all, what he said was, she tried to throw, she had it in her hand. But as soon as he said that he would shoot her in the head, what did she do? She let go. She let go, put her hand in there.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Jaquari, anything?
can I ask you guys, as law enforcement and everything, how many times did you have to, excuse me, watch that video for you to get a concrete opinion on it? Because I find myself, man, in my job, with my job, analyzing, situations like this because I know how they, I know how they can start, and I know how, you can come on the scene and see the perpetrator of the crime as the victim. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to in any way smooth over what he did. It was just unthinkable or whatever. But just being on this side of the law, and having the right reports on things, man, having to do investigations or whatever. How long did it take you guys? How many, like I said, how many times did you have to watch it, to really, really like I said, build a concrete opinion on
Ken?
Well, I'd say I watched it a couple of times, and I had to get initially when it came out. I waited, to get more information on it. But just the general circumstances of it, I knew that that didn't have to be the outcome. That it should have been a totally different outcome. His training should have kicked in and really helped him do a better job at containing that threat if he felt it was a threat. And I haven't, it's funny. I hadn't heard the statement that he told her he was going to shoot her in her head. Um, that's that's a strange thing to say.
Yeah.
Um, you know, so I find that kind of strange that he would even say that. You know, um, but then again, I don't know. His adrenaline may have been through the roof, and I think that one of the things with law enforcement is you have a split second sometimes to make a decision, and you better make the right decision because it definitely could affect you. And as it did with him, he made the wrong decision, and there are consequences to that.
Yeah.
The crazy part about it, he's a big man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
When you got to get in the contrast of the room and her size and all that, that's a big man. You know what I'm saying? And,
But it's boiling hot water. But here's my thing. I said once because I came late into it. They were showing bits at first, and somebody altered the first thing that like she had a pot in her hand, right? And a lot of people jumped on that until the official release. And really and truly, I watched it, and I came in with I read the captions about her being killed and all this, and I read the caption and I walked through it as they showed it. It wasn't frame by frame. It was like this in real time. And I heard what the officer said, and next thing you know, and I saw her reaction, right? Where she had her hand on the stove, then her hands was up. You see what I mean?
and she said she was sorry.
My thing is, what was so crazy about it was people trying to defend that. Now, Ken will tell you and everyone else that I've ever worked with, and guys in law enforcement, I do not. When I first get the footage, I don't judge things off of because I've learned to do to be patient, to get more. I don't get the little 30-second clips that somebody puts on there to be viral. I want to see the whole thing if you got a longer clip. Because I've been in those situations, I'm sure you had too, Ken, where it was a build-up. It was a build-up where, ma'am, sir, I need you to do this, where there's a conversation going on, right? Then they make the decision, or you make your declaration, ma'am, if you don't stop, I'm going to arrest you. Sir, if you don't stop, I'm going to arrest you. When people hear arrest, this is why it was good that everybody got body cameras, right? Because as soon as you hear the arrest, guess what? The bystanders are doing what? Boo boo.
Moving out the way.
They got the cameras on. Right at that point. Now, when you're affecting the arrest, you have to affect the arrest, man. You can't mess around because you're putting the person you're arresting in danger, and you're putting yourself in danger if you do not go straight to the action and boom, on their stomach, hands behind the back, put the cuffs on. But what have we been seeing over the years? We've only seen little tidbits. right? But what I've understood was I want to see the whole thing. Even though I've done the job long enough to know when something the officer did or didn't do was fishy. You know what I mean? But I still want to do the benefit like, yo, is it more to this? That's all.
Well, part of the footage it showed was him telling her to go over there and turn the fire off the water.
He told her to turn, he
Right.
sent her to the stove.
Right.
Exactly.
He said, because I don't want this place to burn down. This is what he said.
Mhm.
So it's like, what? Well, anybody think, before we move on, anybody got any last things?
Mm.
God
Well, I just
bless
want to
that
say
woman.
one thing. Yes, God bless her. And you know, I want to say one thing. If I direct someone to turn off the stove because I don't want them to burn down the house. If I think that the fire or that pot is that hot, I would kind of expect them to pick the pot up to put it somewhere else.
Makes sense
You
to
know,
me.
so I would, you know,
Makes sense to me.
that's what I would have expected. So
Look, let me go ahead and speculate. Was this a steroid euphoria or something? No, I'm just bullshitting. But you know, I think it was sad because the initial call was somebody was trying to break into the house. So where's your head at, Ken? When you know that's where you're going to. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of course, you're gonna be alert. You're gonna be alert, period,
Yes.
on everyone there. But what you're doing is you're going into the house, you're checking the doors. Well, what was it? The front door? Was it windows? This is what you and your partner are doing.
Right.
But
So
Absolutely.
as he went into the house, so as he went into the house, then the partner must have been checking the perimeter and everything. Because
no,
I was thinking, why would
No.
if she calls for an intruder on the outside of the house, when he pulls up, wouldn't you check the house first and
see,
then and then go make contact?
but
They
that might have been late in the game though. This is why I was talking about when the recording starts. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
Because they probably checked the perimeter. This is my speculation. They probably checked the perimeter and all that, and they were just going in to get information.
Yeah, they checked
Yeah.
it because they was asking her, is that your car and all this stuff because
Yeah,
we checked
yeah.
the perimeter. Yeah, they did check it.
So they
But I
knew
think,
that they were talking to the complainant.
yeah,
Yeah.
they did. They did.
Yeah.
Man was just heartless and he was callous. He didn't give a damn about her life. And
No, you know, some of the shit he was saying afterwards. I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
you're a dickhead, and you know you're a dickhead. So you're trying to, you know, he's trying to deal with what he just did by making it sound like it was her fault. You know what I'm saying?
how many times you got to shoot somebody in the face, man? You know what I'm saying?
No, he didn't. No. What he did was pull the trigger and kept pulling the trigger. That's
Yep.
all. That's all.
That's right.
You know, it's that easy. You know, it's the 30 pounds of pressure. Then after that, it drops to 15 or 12. So
Yep.
it's easy. You know, we fired guns before. You know what I mean?
And that definitely wasn't part of his training
Yeah.
to keep pulling the trigger. That wasn't part of his training. They don't train you to do that.
That's important right there.
They don't train you
Okay.
to do that.
So that was interesting, man. I thank you guys for your input. So this is not a political show, even though Damon wants to get political, and I understand why. I think that the frustration of it, me personally, makes me not to really, you know what I mean? Because we touch on it here, but the frustration of watching simple-minded people, yes, and I'm saying that, simple-minded people trying to justify some of their cruelty. You know what I mean? As far as enacting the laws and as far as what they're saying and all these different things. So moving on into the political realm. Let me just say, and I'm gonna go to each one of you, and then we'll get into the meat of the thing. Give me your opinion about Biden deciding not to run and endorsing the VP, Harris. We'll start with you, Jaquari.
I think it's the circus Americans, bro. I mean, what's really going on, man? You know, I've gotten into that lately. You know, whenever something explodes on the mainstream media, man, you know, there's always something, you know, more freaking insidious and wicked going on in the background.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What did Caesar do? He gave him bread in the circus. So I
Yeah,
mean, that's where I am right now, man. You know, I've been jaded to the point with politics, man, that I sort of categorize it with the Bible. I don't talk about either one.
gotcha.
So,
Okay. Ken, what do you think?
Well, I think for one thing, when he saw the data of the polling, he knew that he was slipping. And you know, when I look at a person his age, you know, I it I understand you know, that he wants to support the country, wants to be sure that the country is in good shape. But you know, when you're 81 and you're looking at another 4 years as president, um, you know, I think that at that point, you probably should be looking at spending more time with your family while you have some time to spend. Um, as far
mhm.
as you know, as far as going to the vice president, um, it politically it made sense because if he didn't, then it really invalidates why he picked her in the first place. I mean, if you're gonna pick somebody as your running mate, be a vice president, you really need to be picking somebody who can take over if something were to happen to you. And that's what I would hope that any presidential candidate would do. As we've seen on the Republican side, that's not the case as far as I'm concerned. But I just think that you know it was a logical choice for him. There's a lot of questions if a woman could win um, the presidency of the United States. Uh, but I think that people are coming to the realization that it doesn't matter if it's a man or woman. There's certain things that have to be done in this country, and you're not going to get them done pulling people apart and dividing them. So, you know, to me, it was a logical choice. If they would have went the other way, it would have been a mess.
Okay.
If they would have tried to go to the convention and have them vote on a whole bunch of other people and pushed her to the side, it would have been a snub to a lot of people, and it wouldn't have worked.
Okay. Damon.
I think it was a logical choice to make. You know what I'm saying? It makes sense. You know, but see, I'm one of those people, man, who when he first won 4 years ago, I'm like, man, I kind of foresaw this happening because if you think about the debates they were having, man, he was kind of like showing signs then.
Angry old man. Yeah.
You know, he wouldn't even finish his statements, man. You know, but yeah, it's the logical choice, and I think it's going to be a monumental thing, man. That happens, man. It's going to be something that's going to go down in history because she's a prosecutor, man. and this dude just got out of court. You know what I'm saying? If she can't win this, man, if she can't make her point and win this, then it's definitely rigged, man. You know,
Gotcha.
it's
Definitely.
definitely rigged. So
I think if he makes the decision, which I know that his people are advising him, and he make the decision to debate her, it's going to do a lot to bolster her to winning, because she is not going to allow him to do what he did to Hillary Clinton. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Try to bully her
Exactly.
and try to out-talk her.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
but I found out that, and I'm not sure this is true or not, but as a credible source, I found out that he don't have to debate her. They can go
Right.
just
He
straight
can
into
back out.
November. Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't have
Now,
to.
if he was smart, he would.
But
He wouldn't.
But
yeah, he
look,
would debate her.
but look at all the things she can lay out, man. She don't have to debate
It's
him.
a lot. It's
You
a
know what
lot.
I'm saying? It is
You
crazy.
think-
And it's,
So, Damon, you think she don't have to debate him? She could just
no, she doesn't have to debate him, man, because everything when she gave her first speech, everything that she said, I know Donald Trump. And what did she say? Embezzler or rapist. She laid out all the things that he's been found guilty of. So why do she need to stand there and listen to him make jokes and talk about her laugh? You know what I'm saying?
The one,
That's
the one,
juvenile.
the one thing you guys are considering though is this vanity, because that's
Right.
exactly what if he was to debate her, that's exactly what he would do. He would stand there and he would belittle her, and he would, just dig up all of her dirt and everything, and that would probably secure him the election. It probably would.
he's already tried, because he called her garbage.
Right. And the thing is, yeah, Trump is a narcissist. So he knows everything. He's the best to do everything. He knows more than the generals. He knows more than the scientists. And if you were to play him in golf, he'd be picking up balls, putting it in his pocket like he's done in the past, and dropping them inconspicuously by the hole. So, I mean,
y'all
you're
see-
dealing with a person.
And he's not a good, hey, you said
Did y'all
narcissist.
see him putting?
He's not even a good narcissist. Would you say that?
No,
I said, did y'all see him putting?
I missed that. I
Man,
missed that
was
adventure.
hilarious. Man.
Well, I mean, we're in a weird time now. I mean, you have a person who's a convicted felon and convicted sexual abuser, and he's running for president.
Yeah.
While you had people in Florida during the last election who were convicted felons who served their time and were told that they could vote and went out and voted and wound up getting arrested for voting because they were felons. So people have to look at what type of country do you want? Do you want a country that's ran by criminals, by people who have no regard for the law, people who just do what they want to do and the hell with everybody else? And as far as leaders, we can't have leaders that are above the law.
Right.
As the Supreme Court has put him in the position to be above the law, and actually, and I'm not changing the subject, but we can't have a Supreme Court where people are tethered together with billionaires and millionaires and accepting gifts of millions of dollars.
It's always been that way, bro. But I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah, but I mean, people now, now people are looking at it a little bit more. I think that they say that there's a segment of the population that doesn't concentrate on or doesn't follow elections and politics. But I think when you're in a time where all of these things are going on, and even before that, everyone needs to have a little bit of an idea of what's going on in the world around them, and especially in their communities and neighborhoods. But you know, I think that people wake up and they wake up late, and they try to get all the information that they need within a couple of months. But you have to play the long game. You have to watch these people as they come up. You have to remember the things that they've said in the past. So that way, when you do have to make an informed decision, you're prepared to do so. That's just the way I feel about it.
I get it. And
So it's kind of frustrating.
I'm gonna tell you something funny. I think I said this last week when we were. It bothered 2 weeks ago, I believe. It bothered me that the fact that the New York decisions where he was convicted of, people saying it's 31, it's 34 felonies, well, whatever amount of felony is a felony is a felony, right? And I asked a friend of mine, who is a brother, right? I said, well, how is he able to run with these felonies?
Mm-hmm.
Because I really, the funny thing about it is we were taught this in elementary school and early part of middle school. Why was he able to run? Right? And I had to go back and refresh my recollection. And there's only two criteria, like solid criteria, to be able to run for the presidency, right? One, you got to be between 35 and 45 years old. I think it's 45, if I'm not mistaken. And then second, you have to be a citizen, a natural citizen of the United States. That's it. So you can have felonies, you can have whatever. You're still able to run. But see, the thing about it in the past years, why it was easy to forget this is because when somebody had some morally corrupt behavior, their political careers, especially for running for president, was over. Like, remember back in the early 80s? Kerry. Remember John Kerry?
John Kerry.
Not John Kerry. No, it's the other one. Ah, shoot. I forget his name, but he was a front runner for the Democrats.
Gore.
He was a front runner for the Democrats. No, it's before Gore. And he had his mistress on the boat in his lap. And they took a picture of him. And they were slating him for being the president of the United States.
You talking about Walter Mondale?
No, it wasn't Mondale.
No,
but it was around that time, though.
Wasn't he a Republican who did that?
He might have been a Republican.
Yeah,
but,
that was Republican.
But she was sitting on his lap. They was on a boat. And he had to drop out of the race because of that. You feel what I'm saying? Because he was a married man and he was a front runner. They saw him as the next president. So with me, I was spoiled with that. Just like what's the man that
did a commencement speech at Jacory's graduation?
No. That's
Edwards.
John Edwards from North Carolina.
Yeah, he was the one. He was the one who could spell potato or whatever. But the thing about it was, what was so crazy was and I lost my train of thought. But what was the Massachusetts senator that lost? Was it Reagan's second term when they asked him, because he was against the death penalty, and they asked him, well, if your son was murdered by a particular person, right? If your son was murdered by a particular person and he was doing well, like he had a
You
chance
talking
to
about
be the president.
Dukakis?
Dukakis.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Dukakis.
Mhm.
And remember the question, it was during the debate. They asked him this question. So what would you do if this man murdered your son? And would you want him to go on to you want him to be subject to the death penalty? And he lost momentum and everything when he said, I still would be against the death penalty. See, and the American public saw him as being weak because of it.
Right.
And he lost the election because of it. You feel what I'm saying? It's
Yep,
the
Michael
American
Dukakis.
people always get caught up on, like this is why generals do so well if they running for president. You feel what I'm saying? Because we look for the tough guy. We want to feel as a people, we want to feel like we got somebody who's gonna go in there, like Reagan. Reagan didn't have a chance against Jimmy Carter, right? But Reagan had one final speech, and he said, "I would," especially after, because him and Ford. Remember, him and Ford was fighting over that Republican nomination, and he eked it out over Ford. So in his speech for winning, the motherfucker said, when I become president, I'm going to do everything I can to go get those Iran hostages. I will blow the country up if I have to. And the American people, even though Jimmy Carter was a president for the people, it was so many programs for the American people. College, everything, housing, everything. He was a great president for the people. Ronald Reagan won off that one speech saying,
If that's your if that's your rationale, then why didn't Ross Perot win?
Ross Perot was a flake, though.
Ross Perot went in there and got his people though.
But see, that's my whole point. He was a flake. They didn't trust him.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? They didn't trust him. Like, yeah, oh man, yeah, he's perfect for the job because he's going to fix the economy.
Yeah, he was the first business guy.
Yeah, but really, was he the first one, or was it Bill Clinton at the same time though? Because Bill Clinton was a business guy, but he disguised it as a lecherous politician. No, but go ahead, man. But no, I hated to take that down the memory lane, but my point was we get caught up as a people, and I include myself into it, where we used to believe in moral character also, but we don't believe in it anymore, and that was because of Donald Trump. I think
that's right.
Because they don't care about Donald Trump's character. No. And that's not a blanket statement. Really, how do you want to support this man and you don't care that he says whatever the hell he wants to say? Now, am I going against him? No, I'm just speaking in a logic sense. Like, yo, he said some of the craziest stuff, right? And then he feeds other things like, hell, it was me. I'm going to stop all those immigrants from coming over the border. Now he's tapping into what? I understand them folks down on the border, Texas and New Mexico and all that, because they got to deal with the dumb shit, right?
Right. Yep.
But the rest of the country benefit from immigrants. Other than the ones that came from Honduras and they planting in the black neighborhoods in all the major cities.
And yeah. And Venezuela.
Texas benefit from them too.
Did you say that?
Yeah.
I said Texas is benefiting from them too. I mean,
they always have
cheap labor.
Yeah.
It's just how they spin the narrative, man.
Yeah.
And you know what? when I look at the pictures of the people at the border, and by the way, it's decreased. Um, President Biden signed a executive order dealing with the border, and since then, the numbers of people at the border have decreased. So, but when I look at the people, I see a lot of women, I see a lot of children, and I see a lot of teenagers at the border. So when I hear somebody like Trump or one of his minions talking, and they're saying rapists, murderers, and so forth, it kind of makes me wonder, who's raping who? Is I see a lot of women, children, elderly, So I guess he's referring to the teenage boys that you see a lot of at the border, maybe, as being those criminals, those rapists, those murderers.
I think it was a political to say that in a political way because of the cartels. Because think about it, the last year or so, that's all we hear about is, oh yeah, these drug mules, they sending all these cartel guys in here, and they putting down their cocaine roots. It's some, it might be some truth to it, but really and truly, it's a political stance too, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Go ahead, man.
Okay. Yep.
Go ahead, Damon.
I don't get it, man, with the whole border thing, man. And it's just a colossal mess, man. I think both parties screwed the pooch on that. So they both can take blame.
Too extreme.
Yeah, well, yeah, and the thing about the border thing too, this is nothing new. This thing's been going on for over 30 years, and nobody had came up with a solution to it. The thing that I wondered about was when they just had this bipartisan bill that they tried to put forward, that had a lot of really tough legislation in it for border control, and it actually favored the ideas of the Republican Party more than it did the Democratic Party. And you get one person who calls and says, I want you to not deal with that, set it aside until we start campaigning, so I can use that as a campaign issue, the border. I don't want y'all to solve it. So,
Right.
I mean, right there, that tells you something right there. There was legislation that would have put a dent in some of the issues that we're having at the border. But Trump made the call to the MAGA party, and they could put the kibosh on it, and it didn't happen. So, and that's why too, if you look at it, you really don't see the Republicans saying a whole lot about the border. They're not saying a lot about the border because they know the counter response to that is, well, why did you kill a bipartisan bill that both Republicans and Democrats agreed on? That would have been the strongest border legislation in 30 years if you really wanted to do something about the issues at the border. That's one of the things that Kamala Harris is going to have to be able to expand on when she talks to people out there as she runs for election for president. She's going to have to be able to go out there and put those things out. And even when we have our own ideas of how we think things should be, we know what the truth is. So you can, a person could go out there and support a lie if they want to, but actually they know what the truth is when they're hearing it. And they just need to hear the truth and the facts. I haven't seen so many lies being said.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
right, that have been proven to be lies
Man,
1,000 times over, but they keep repeating the same damn lies. I mean,
you
how do
know
you
what?
how do you vote for people like that? And I'm not just talking about
Right,
president. I'm talking about all of those guys. I couldn't
right.
vote for them. Period.
You know
They
what?
have no backbone.
But see, that's the thing. They're voting the opinions of their constituents, man. Is why they keep getting voted in.
How in the hell can you look at in real time an insurrection happening and then some clown get on TV and say, "Hey, don't believe your eyes, man. That was a lie."
Right,
Them was
right.
people
That was
first time. You know what I'm
that
saying?
was the FBI set that up. Yeah, yeah.
I
The FBI,
think
it was a movie production. The FBI set it up.
Man,
The
that
government.
was crazy. Man.
so. Let's since you brought that up, that's the thing that it really and truly bothered me, in the sense that what we saw in real time, why was it presented? Why do they keep saying insurrection, even though we know what insurrection means? It still means attempted coup. You know what I'm saying? But
Exactly.
insurrection goes down easier.
Right.
So that, to me, it's like, okay, we're gonna say insurrection, right? And we're gonna bank on a lot of people don't know what the fuck insurrection means. You understand what I'm saying?
That's true.
Because
Well,
I had a real quick, I had a actual, see, I don't argue anymore, but I had a conversation with a friend who said, and it was a black man who said, well, there wasn't no real attempted coup, because only one person died, and they didn't die there. They died of a heart attack later. And I looked at him, I said, well, what the fuck does that mean to you, man? Just because nobody died. Did you not see
and
them
somebody
climbing
did.
in windows, kicking in doors?
It was several people who died.
But
Where did you get this information?
And one person died.
He was on Fox News, but go ahead.
Fox News. One person died at that day. The lady
The woman,
who was trying to
got
kick in
shot.
doors.
Yeah,
Right.
she got shot.
Now, so when a person says something like that, they need to rewind and go back and just think. The reason more people didn't die is because of the restraint of the Capitol Police,
They
the
was on the
DC
they
police.
was on the schedule. They
on the scene.
had standing orders. They were
Right.
to retreat because they was on a skeleton crew, and they could not. They were told not to engage the crowd. That's why they backed up. And then
Right.
the people in which 4 months earlier, you know, I'm talking the ones with the riot squad, and it was a peaceful.
Yeah, when they cleared out all the peaceful demonstrators in front of the church,
with
so
Ted
Trump
Kippass, and he had the
Trump could
Bible
come out and hold them upside down,
Right.
Yeah.
upside down and backwards.
Where were they?
I mean, right there.
On January 6th. Now they tried to blame Trump and said he told them not to be there.
Here's
I'm not sure.
Here's what's crazy to me. How they tried to build this narrative that, you know, it didn't really happen or whatever. But we saw footage. Now, isn't somebody making a threat with a noose? Isn't that what they call that?
That's communicating a threat.
Yeah, that's a threat,
happen.
and that's what they say. When the crime is committed against somebody of a minority, do they call it
Hate crime?
that's a hate crime
crime.
right there. The threat is
Well-
coming into the building, and they're carrying nooses, man. Hangman nooses, and another cat jumped on the table with zip ties, man. Isn't that
And
isn't that kidnapping? You know
the
what I'm saying?
crazy thing is, if it wasn't for the quick thinking of the DC police, right, Capitol
Mhm.
Police, if it wasn't for them getting all those people, all the Senate or whatever the fuck, the Congress, whatever the fuck it was, getting them in one room, they cleared them out of their office and put them in one room.
Yep.
Had they not done that, who knows?
What would
But
have
my
happened?
point is, we sat there and watched the footage of them climbing in windows.
Yep.
Like,
And
The red coast would have shot the motherfucker.
that's right. And guess what? We watched the footage of Republicans running down the hallway, running for their damn lives.
I
Now,
saw,
if that was
Vince ran for his life because they were looking for him.
right, exactly. So I mean, if it was as one Republican said, it was no more than a sightseeing tour.
Wow.
If it was a sightseeing tour, then there was no reason to be running down the halls, and the Republicans could have stayed in their offices.
Yep.
But they knew, like we knew, the people that was coming through those doors were coming for all of them. They weren't. They wasn't going to try to figure it out, sort it out. It's like they
Not
said,
only
let
that.
God sort it out.
Right. Not only that, they was breaking into their offices, defecating on people's desks and all that kind of. But come on, man.
Yep. Hey, really, really, that's the only footage that we didn't see. But they probably had footage of that too.
Man.
I would have shown it all. I would have shown it all. I mean, it's just time. If a person's an asshole and they're trying to do something that's going to affect me and my family, I'm gonna call them out as being an asshole.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to use any big words. I'm gonna break it down so the stupidest person in the room can understand what I'm saying.
Right. Just like they show a clip of Trump saying one thing and then he's standing in front of a crowd and he's saying something totally different. It's like, man, did he just really do that, man?
I mean, listen,
they got plenty of coverage doing straight up. Would y'all hang with somebody or allow somebody around you that lie like that, man, with a straight face?
No.
Not being charged.
I wouldn't know what it.
That's the craziest shit in the world, man. I would sit up here.
Hey, look,
I would be sitting up there watching one of them joints, man. He be sitting there just like in the debate with Biden, man. That dude was lying his ass off, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
yeah.
like,
Well, you gotta.
But you know what
this
he was
guy
counting on?
more intelligence.
See, what he was counting on is people not paying attention to his lies because Joe was well past his nap time and he kept getting stuck.
Right. Well, you know what I think happened too with during that debate. You ever been in a disagreement with somebody? A civil disagreement, and they're just lying and lying and lying to the point where you don't even know what to say. You're just looking at them like, what the fuck are you talking about? Every word that comes out of your mouth is a lie. I can't even respond to that. And I think when I looked at Joe's face, he was on cloud nine. I mean, he was like, oh shit, this dude is lying his ass off. I mean,
Joe Biden, like, well, maybe I'm an asshole.
Right.
Maybe, I don't know.
It was so many lies coming at him. If you remember the last election that Joe Biden beat Donald Trump and they debated, Joe Biden got so frustrated. He said, "Would you shut up, man?
Yeah.
Would you shut up, man? Would you just shut up?"
Yep.
I think at this time, 4 years later, he just couldn't get those words out of his mouth.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Joe.
That's what I think.
I was waiting for Joe to say, "Now you know you sitting over there lying your ass off, man. He's a lying motherfucker."
Like he couldn't.
He talking.
He couldn't.
He walking
but
back.
He the
Walking
one
back
who
talking.
said that.
He couldn't have got those. He couldn't get those words out of his mouth. But I don't know if you remember that there was a movie, a black movie, and I can't remember the name of it or who was in it. But they were talking to this dude who was stuttering, and the guy said, "Fuck you," you know. And that's what Joe.
Harlem Nights.
Oh yeah, Harlem Nights. If he had to say it like that, he should have said it like that.
Yeah.
Because it was just that crazy.
I tell you, funny thing, my dad. Then I want to touch on something else. My dad told me something about his cousin. His cousin, I think his cousin Ray Charles, had a bad stutter, right? And then when they was kids,
Charlie Ray.
Charlie Ray. Yeah.
Oh, Charlie Ray.
Yeah, so as kids, you know, they was out there working for my Uncle Will, you know.
Willa Ray, man.
No,
Willa Ray.
no. His brother. Talking about Willa Ray's brother. So he had the stuttering, big guy, big strong guy. So he said they was out there, they was working, and he was trying to say some shit, right? And he got caught on a stutter.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad looked at him. He said, "Hey, man, if you can't say it, sing it." You know, a joke. They all laughed. So his cousin looked at him. He said, "Okay, fuck you." He said, Keith,
hey, look.
it came that he hit the right note and it came out so smooth. He said, and you know, and that's
talking
the point.
about.
That's the point I'm trying to make here is, you know, we sit here and we want to believe one thing, but when it comes to people that's in charge of this country, we give them too much of the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? I think Donald Trump supporters feed off of his negative stance, the part of his negative character, because they identify, well, I'm angry. I'm angry about this. I'm angry about that. So Donald Trump seems like he's angry about the same thing, but even though he don't sound correct, he's still saying some of the things that we say in private, and we say, you know, and we think at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But bro, don't angry person can recognize a jerk and an asshole, man. You know what I'm saying?
But that's why they respect him, because he's always been a jerk. He's always been an asshole. That's what he's consistently been.
Mm-hmm.
I think he just be playing games, man. Be honest with you. Let me see what I can get these people to think and believe now. You know
but I mean, look, it got him the presidency.
Yeah, well, if you go back, and you listen to some of the things that Donald Trump said about the Republican Party.
Oh,
he actually said that he chose the Republican Party because they would believe anything he said.
Yep.
They were the easy target. They were the easy target.
For years, for decades, he was a Democrat. And he contributed money to it.
He gave money to Kamala.
Yes.
He gave her money.
Yeah. But yet he turns around and says and tries to degrade her.
Because they made him king. And what does Trump want? The elitist in him wants to be. He wants to be king. That's it. So he'll do whatever he wants to do. And see, most people think we're just throwing darts out there because we're frustrated. The four of us are sitting here. This is common sense, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
It is.
I'm gonna tell
It's
you.
common sense.
My man, he rolled the dice, he played the game, became president, and all that
Yep.
stuff. I'm just one of those cats, man, who can't just sit there and listen to him and be like, damn, is this dude really think I'm that stupid? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
With the lies, taking credit for, just like they said back in New York, he threw his name up on buildings that were already built. You know what I'm saying?
Of
Yep.
course.
Taking credit for
Because
things he didn't do.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. That's the elitist thing to do. This is why we have history books. That's a great segue. This is why we have the different things in the history books. So I want to move on to this, guys, and I want to get your opinion about it. Let me read the definition first. Well, no, let me what it stands for. DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Right, guys, are you familiar with this point of view right now? Because it's a catchphrase for the Republican Party about they call Kamala Harris a DEI hire, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically what is the thing the Supreme Court just got rid of for the colleges?
Affirmative action.
Affirmative action. Really and truly, it's not anything in effect. It's what they want. They think people who support it think that's what should be in the business world and in this everyday period, right? Because really and truly, when you have diversity, when you have equity, and you have inclusion, from the business point of view, your business blows up. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they have changed it into something like poison. I say they, talking about the people who jump on it, like DeSantis. He's on that. The guy from Texas, he's on that. Where I don't want schools to teach my kids, because it's part of it, to teach my kids about slavery, because I don't want them to feel bad about slavery.
Bad. To feel bad about it.
Yes, isn't that crazy? And the
That's
thing
crazy.
about it is,
Do you
go ahead, Jaquan.
do you do you think that DEI kind of negates legacy?
How do you think?
Because if you include everybody and give it, and put everybody on equal footing and everything, that just, and you happen to be in charge, aren't you
It's
creating more
actually,
competition?
is it actually equal footing, or is it actually hiring the best person for the job?
Right.
See, this is, and that's a
understand
good
the
point,
question.
Jaquan. That's a good point. But here's the thing: it's not interfering with anything. It's just hiring the best person for the job. Don't hire them for their skin.
Here's the thing that bothers me about that whole thing, man. How they use it as a trope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
and all
another.
that.
Yes.
Here's the thing that bothers me. Don't you know that DEI, man, also includes people with disabilities and stuff like that, man? You know what I'm saying? Making sure that people with disabilities have a fair chance at jobs and stuff like that.
But it's a theory, though, Fluke. It's not like affirmative action.
Yeah. But that being said, though, Keith, isn't DEI like doesn't DEI bolster white women?
Yes, it does, because they're considered a minority.
Yeah. Because like I said,
if the company prescribes to it, they're not. You understand that some companies are, but it's attacking the school districts more than the actual job, because they practice it, and they practice it in some businesses and some they don't. You feel what I'm saying? So it don't affect business. They're trying to affect the schools.
I think, man, where they get it wrong, man, that the DEI, man, it's an inclusive thing, man. It's just not about black people or minorities. It's an inclusive thing because you can be disabled. You can be disabled and be any color. You know what I'm saying? And get a fair, and get a fair chance. And they trying to use it as dog whistle shit like that, and they sound stupid, man. You know, because they don't do their homework because they're trying to gin up the certain part of the base. You know, and then they say, "Well, I'm not being racist." You are. That's exactly what you're being. You're being racist, man. And
because they're using it that way.
Right. But the DUI is inclusive. It includes everybody of all different colors and stripes, man. You know,
it does. And the thing about it too is, and context that they're using it with Vice President Harris is totally wrong, because all the positions that she's had, she's been elected to those positions.
Listen,
so
you see her resume,
has nothing to do with that.
As a matter of fact, she's overqualified to be the vice president.
You see her resume,
right?
That's the dumbest argument, man. That's why we're doing it really, man.
Yeah,
go ahead, Ken.
You know, no, so that's the problem right there, that the Republicans are allowed to go on television and social media and everywhere else that somebody will listen to them and say things that are untrue.
Yeah.
Now, if you're voted into an office like Attorney General of California, people have to vote for you. There's nobody saying, "Oh, we got to vote for her because we need to have a black person in there. We need to have a woman in there." No, they had to vote for her. She had to get people to vote. They had to want her to be there. That's not a DEI hire, period.
But
you know,
that's why I'm saying. But what they keep saying it because they don't want to say affirmative action. First of all, and Ken, you are absolutely right. She was voted in her different positions, but then I get pissed off at what's my man name, Judge Joe Brown. Judge Joe Brown been everywhere, so he got all the information. But the first time I heard anybody disparage Kamala Harris was Joe Brown. Joe Brown said, he said on, he's doing his podcast tour. He's saying that she slept her way to the top. You know what I'm saying? This is what, and the thing about it is I get upset. Like, when it comes to when they first mentioned Kamala, they talked about her record when it came to arrests for black men in the state of California, right?
Too hard on crime, too strong on crime.
Yeah, but if you investigate it, they saying that she was more of a social worker than being too hard on crime. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it's so many conflicting things, but go check it out first before you form your opinion about what somebody might have an opinion about. Because if you're talking to somebody who actually, and I understand if you have been convicted by her when she was ADA and when she was heading everything off, of course you're gonna have a bad opinion about it if they give you a weighty ass sentence. Of course.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to. Your family's supposed to, right? But wondering what the real truth is, and is that the real truth? Or is it just the simple fact that somebody's just throwing their opinion out there just for dissent?
No. Yeah, I think that
Go ahead, Jaquar.
Was he serving as Attorney General when Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. No. Come on, get in the chopper.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Yeah,
I think it's close though. I think it's close, but I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I have to look it up. Malika, I just put on the screen. Malika Harris says DEI is more than race. It includes disability, marital status, economic status, work style, education level, communication level, etc. You need to study more if you're only able to see race in it. But see, that's the whole thing. Damon, you put it correctly. Jaquari, Ken, you guys put it correctly in the sense that it's never been about race. It was always a catchphrase that the other side could throw out there instead of saying black man, black woman, or the N-word. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
It's used to divide.
Yep. Well, we're going back anyway because I hear that they're using the word colored again. Colored people. I mean, where's that coming from? The coloreds. So we're going back. I thought so when I first heard the slogan, "Let's make America great again." And I wondered, what were they talking about making America great again? I didn't get it great again. America's always been in the same place that it is in now. Once you get past the '60s and
but
and
that's
the
how
civil rights movement.
that's kind of how he stumbled into the white vote. You know that, right? Because he was floundering until he started that catchphrase. You feel what I'm saying? Because nobody touched it. Nobody. See, to me, I think Donald Trump's appeal, his aura, his energy appeals to bitter people, hateful people. You know what I mean? People who are afraid to lose their invisible status. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So and that's my thing. Is like you argue, and that's when I like to debate people who are on that far end of the spectrum where they talk about, I'm trying to hold on to my thing. Well, hold on to it. Who's trying to take it from you? All these different government programs. The government is making me do this. The government's not making you do anything. You understand what I'm saying? What to me, if anybody's being affected by the government, it's our community. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Well, the government doesn't. The things that the government doesn't affect the rich the way it affects the poor and the middle class. When the government makes rules and regulations, the first people to feel it are us. We the people, basically, since the rich only make up 1 to 5% of the population, is we the people. We the people at the bottom going to the middle that feel all the negative things that happen within government. One of the things that I was looking at too is when you look at some of the things, because we hadn't touched on Project 2025. Has anybody taken a look at some of the things that they're talking about in Project 2025?
I'm not familiar.
They were talking about. I looked at it briefly, man, but it's
What they want.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, they were talking about eliminating the Board of Education.
Yeah, right.
They were talking about eliminating Social Security. You know, um, they would definitely talk about a national ban on any type of abortion. You know, um, and for me, I don't, you know, I don't necessarily agree with every type of abortion. I don't, but there are cases where to save a person's life, and that may be a step that you have to take. But the other thing that I find kind of that bothers me when they talk about that eliminating abortions nationally under any, for any circumstances is that it it not only it takes away from the woman's right to choose. And I don't think that government should be stepping in and telling people what they should do with their own bodies, you know? Um, and I hate that they made it a thing where they tried to intermingle it with religion, because really, if you read the Bible and not hold it upside down and backwards, um, you'll see that God gave man the right to choose his own path. Now you had circumstance, you had consequences and so forth at the end of that path, but you were given that right to choose it. And so, I just think it's totally wrong when people say that they're religious and they're holier than thou and everything else, and they twist um, the words, God's words around in the Bible to meet their own needs or to meet their own aspirations. I
And
think it's wrong.
it has always been that way. But now
Did y'all see? Did y'all see when they had that conference call with the white women?
Oh
They had
no, but I heard about it.
broke. Yeah, they broke. What do you call it? Not YouTube, but
Oh, they broke the internet.
yeah, they had over 200,000
yeah,
on
but
Yeah.
here's the
Kamala.
thing. This is what I've always understood about it. Why they wanted Roe v. Wade to be repealed, right? Because you have to understand something. We have increase in the Hispanic population, right? I'm not sure about our population and other ethnicities coming in. Sound like Kevin Garnett, but other groups coming into this situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
White women lead in abortion, and they also lead in not having children. So the legislation, and this is my opinion, but damn, the facts is there. The legislation is geared to why they want to outlaw it, because they want to build up their numbers again.
Again, yeah.
Because their
Let's make
numbers are decreasing. So in the next 10 years, there's going to be a community that's going to be more than just white people. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
And the thing about it is, what it did was, the federal government didn't outlaw abortion. What they did was, what the Supreme Court, when they repealed it, what they did was leave it up to the states on what they do. You see what I'm saying? That's what happened. And you know what's so messed up about it is, how do you control what a woman's decision to be? And I understand, in the right circumstances, I believe in the children, right? But choice always overrides anything when it comes to a human being's happiness, I think.
Yeah.
So these women have a right to choose, man, because they're American citizens.
You know, I think I think the thing that nobody's talked about, man, was the the price of an abortion, man. Yeah, y'all know in some states, man, an abortion can cost you up to $12,000. And
Damn.
Wow.
there's oh yeah,
Wow.
and there's like Planned Parenthood and a couple of other companies or whatever. They're not paying the bulk of that $10 to $12,000. They're going to give you, 300 on it.
Wow.
Yeah, you
Well,
got to come up with you got to cover your travel plans there because you can't. I don't know how many states it is, but it's not all 50 states that you can get an abortion in. There's certain
No.
states
no.
that you have to travel to,
Yeah.
Yep.
And
and
Well,
these
if you
idiots
live in
talking about
Texas, you
they're talking
gotta.
about
If you
giving
live in
women.
Texas, mhm.
Was it one congressperson, wherever he was? He talking about giving women death penalties and stuff, man. They had to.
Right, for traveling out of state to get an abortion. Well,
It's a black congressman in our state. Not is he congressman? He's
no,
running for governor.
he's a lieutenant general or something like attorney general. He's running for
Okay.
governor this year.
And
Yeah,
he
he's
man,
crazy.
some of the stuff he
He's
said
crazy.
that is ridiculous.
He's
He
crazy.
said, I don't care. He said he don't care how the baby got there. That is is wrong and it should be against the law. And you carry it to term. That's what you do. And
Right.
and I think he's doing it to appeal to the conservatives in the state of North Carolina is what he's trying to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He sounds so
He is.
ridiculous, man. Why do black men and women sound ridiculous when they are on a conservative? And I'm not talking about just regular conservatives, like yo, because I'm conservative in a lot of ways, right?
We
But I'm
talking
talking about
MAGA.
I'm talking about the
MAGA.
ultra conservatives saying some of the craziest shit. And I said, how do you, and I'm speaking in general terms, how do you speak like that while being black? You know what I
I
mean?
don't understand it.
I don't understand it. And it's not an indictment on them as people. It's just like, yo, you're not making sense. You know what I mean?
Well, we've seen a lot of examples of that. We saw the Herschel Walker race where
Yo,
they made him look
that's
like a total fool.
but that's his
And
CTE though, man. Herschel,
right,
first of all, Herschel have about what 4 or 5 different personalities. First of all, that he took the medicine for. No, this is real. This is real. He's had certain personalities that he's been dealing with for years, for decades. Then he gets up there and he has the concussion. He has the concussion protocol. So you know what I mean? It's like, so what is
Yeah.
it? Okay, since we're talking about Herschel, my opinion. Let me ask y'all a question. Why do y'all think we're seeing more and more of fringe celebrities endorsing Trump? What do y'all think about that?
fringe, like wannabe celebrities.
Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
In the beginning. Amber Rose, D-list. Who else?
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan. Who else?
It's ridiculous, the people anyway. I mean, I think that they're trying to become relevant again. I think that that they're not satisfied with whatever little bit of fame that they had gotten, or a lot of fame at one point, and now they're trying to become relevant again, and so they're picking up this mantle, which is probably the easiest. Let's put it this way: if it was a gang, if the Republican Party was a gang, it'd be a gang that you could get into without having to do anything. There would be there's you know what I'm saying? You don't have to, no initiation. You can just get in. Talk.
You'll get blessed in.
Yeah, you get blessed in. The Republican Party was a gang. That's what it would be.
Did y'all see
They
that?
take anybody.
Did y'all see that video, man, with Teddy Riley? Teddy Riley was down there in some part of Texas, and he went in the restaurant with a bottle of water, and people told him he can't bring the water in, so he started hollering discrimination and shit.
I didn't see it, but I know it
But
was funny.
he a Trump supporter.
Wow. He should have wore his red hat.
Well, you talking about, you said Teddy Riley?
Yeah.
No,
I saw it today.
you want to know why these celebrities, this is my opinion, why they are Trump supporters, has nothing to do with the fact that Trump be going after those tax breaks for wealthy people.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the point I'm making is Teddy Riley is a Trump supporter, man. Diehard Trump supporter, but he's screaming discrimination and shit, bro. Really?
Right.
Well, the
hey, look,
irony in that shit?
you want to be white until it's your advantage to be black.
Man.
So
you know what? I don't think these guys want to be. See, I think that they are so interested. They think the Republican Party is for rich people, not rich white people, not rich black people, but for rich people.
Rich people.
They go look for the tax break. But if you got a great CPA, I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, they're gonna find that shit. They're gonna find
You're
it.
Gonna get a tax break.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing about it. Just like when Trump, when he was running last year, and he was talking about, he admitted, yeah, hell yeah, I only paid this amount of money a year. You know why? Because I could. Because anybody could who has money. So why should I feel bad about that? I'm paraphrasing, but and I looked, and I said, you know what? That's the first honest thing you said. Because when you have the right tax attorneys, they will find it. They will find how you can save money and not have to pay any tax. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But see, people associate that with the Republican Party. No, it is for the wealthy. Period.
Right. Absolutely. And if you ever saw any interviews of Trump supporters, and they were asked the question, why do you support him? Basically, the only answer that they give is, well, he's been a successful businessman. And boom, right there, that's an X, because he hasn't been a successful businessman. But yeah, they're hoping that the fortune that they think he has will somehow be bestowed on them. You know,
see,
it's just crazy.
Here's the thing. We the four of us are in our 50s. And I know that we can look back on at least 2 to 3 times when it was publicized that Donald Trump filed for bankruptcy.
Oh yeah.
Am I wrong?
But he filed 6 times.
He filed 6 times. Yeah, 6 times.
But this is my thing. It was public. It was public though, bro. It was news because what Donald Trump was a celebrity, right? And what was the name of his reality show?
The Apprentice.
Yeah.
The Apprentice.
He did that out of being desperate, man.
Yeah, he needed money.
He needed money. Yeah. So what he did was establish his celebrity. It's what he did. Okay.
I was on a trip to Atlantic City for a car show when they were tearing down the Taj Mahal. And I mean, like, the place was a beautiful place. And they knocked it down to the ground. And it's all Trump. He bit off more than he could chew. And of course, he didn't have the expertise or business sense to pull it out of bankruptcy and wound up getting torn down. And it was before they started tearing it down. It was in just as good a shape structurally as any other casino in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
You know.
And we could think of 100 reasons why a black person shouldn't vote for Trump, man. You talk about the sneakers, man.
Oh
You can
my
talk
God!
about you can talk about the mug shot.
Those cheap ass sneakers. Those cheap ass sneakers.
Bro,
If you tried to play ball in them,
Ken,
you'd be in trouble.
Ken, it's the gall. See, here's the thing with me. Donald Trump has always did business with black celebrities. You know what I mean? In the boxing circuit. You know what I mean? So he has friends there. He's made money with those folks, right? Because they come to his casino, they have the boxing matches there. So that's it, right? But he does not understand black people. He think he does, because guess what this man did? He said, hey, I got a sneaker and I'm looking for donations, and this is how you black folks spend your money. Here's my sneaker. You feel what I'm saying? It's gonna, and the thing about it is, it's smart marketing because the rarity of it. It's an ugly shoe, but the rarity of it makes it valuable for sneaker collectors, which I still don't understand how that is a multi-million-dollar business. I just don't get it. But it is what it is. I don't need to get everything.
I thought the same thing was gonna happen. I thought the same thing was gonna happen when I bought that Obama Chia Pet.
Well, hey,
that motherfucker still sitting. That motherfucker still sitting in my closet.
No. It's cool, but see, it'll start green, then it's gonna turn gray, and then he's gonna have a frown on his face. So that's you needed to water it. Because that's what happened. Put some water on happened to that man in his 8 years. He had black hair, he's chilling,
well, you remember
shooting a jump shot before you know it. Now he's like this. He got his head between his shoulders with the white hair.
Hey, look.
That's a hell of a job to have, boy. I'm telling
you. He's not shooting no jump shots now. He's shooting set shots now. He ain't pulling up off the dribble no more. He's shooting set shots.
That's the realness.
But
all right.
But let me ask you guys before we leave this subject. Have you guys been getting any emails about Trump T-shirts? And there's something else he's peddling on the internet. And every time I pull up my messages, I got something about some Trump T-shirt or a pen or something that he's selling. I mean,
I get regular text messages from the Republican Party, man. I don't know how to.
But they always ask me. Yeah. Well, I was just wondering. I'll probably have to go out there and try to block it somehow because it's below spam. I mean, I just can't. I can't deal with that. I'm getting 5 or 6 messages a day talking about some daggone T-shirts or something.
Have you tried sending the word stop?
No, I guess that's what I'm gonna have to do too, because I'm gonna have to do something because I'm tired of the emails that I'm getting about T-shirts, and he's selling pens, all kinds of crazy shit, man. I mean, it's bad enough when you go into some gas stations and they got all this leftover Trump stuff from 2020, and they're still selling that.
He's hustling his celebrity, and his followers is eating that shit up, though. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, this is the last question of the day, man. And guys, you've done a great job. But this is the last question. And it's pretty simple. Straightforward is what it is. November 6th. Who will you be voting for and why? And we'll start with you, Jaquari.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna support the Democratic Party, man. I'm gonna vote for Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. I mean, and it's not because she's the lesser evil or anything like that, but she's the one who aligns with my thinking. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. Clint, Ken, what about you? November 6th. Who would you vote for and why?
Well, I'm also gonna vote for Kamala, because yeah, she represents my values that I have, and I think she is the right person for the job. And so, it's not going to be a vote against Trump. It's going to be a vote for her. I didn't think that it would happen um, anytime soon, but now that I see what's going on and how people are rising up to the occasion, I think that it's something that could happen. And so I'm gonna do my part to try to make it happen.
Okay. Damon, November 6th.
I'm going to vote for Kamala. Because it's time for the silly shit to stop, man. You know what I'm saying? With emphasis on down ticket, but enough is enough with this foolishness, man.
Yes.
The last the speech that Kamala gave, that felt like real politics, man. It felt like real shit instead of all the clown stuff, man. That's happening. It's a turn off.
Amen.
I got you. Yeah, well, me personally, I'm not going to vote for Trump. Not at all. It's just, I think because Kamala, Kamala,
Kamala.
I get sick of how people, pronounce her name. First of all, I get sick of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This pronounce it right, but they do the shit on purpose. But she is more qualified by leaps and bounds than Trump is, and he was a president for 4 years.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that she has a high chance of winning if he agrees to a debate.
Hell, she was more qualified than Biden.
No. Biden was in control. He was
a senator and he was a vice president.
For 100 years. He was a senator.
Right. Yeah. He was 50 years. Yeah. He came on when he was 29 years old.
Yeah.
But
for 100 years, he was a senator.
But if you want to say it, she was more qualified than Obama as well.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. No doubt about
She's
that.
more qualified than Obama. So, I mean,
Now look at this now. And this is the last thing I want you to comment on. Does this remind you when President Obama was first running? Because people were like, what? He doesn't have a chance. Think about it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's the truth.
It does. It does.
So I wonder if he is backing her, because he has not came out and said he backed her. Because
he just did. He did today.
He just did.
He came out today.
You know, when after the debate, he was calling for an open Democratic convention.
Right.
He didn't even say Kamala should be. No, he was calling for an open one. So this is why I asked. Now you guys said that she.
He came out today.
Yeah, him and Michelle called her on the phone.
Okay.
Yeah, they called her, and he put his back behind it. But yeah, like you said, there's gonna be a lot of people who just by looking at what's going on and how much momentum is building and how quickly momentum is building. I mean, this has been 5 days, and it seemed like she's been in the race for 5 months. So in 5 days, a lot has happened. So yeah, it's
You know,
for them.
you know why?
They'll put their support behind them.
Because people are relieved because that debate worried a lot of Democrats, man. You know
It
what I'm
did.
saying? Because they
But
were able to, the last 2 years, they was able to hide that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
yeah,
But then, that it is what it is, man. And it's no
and you know
disparity
what?
on Biden, but it
Right,
Hey,
right. Because I
hey,
want to say one thing about Biden as my closing remark, President Biden. So I think that he's a good man. He's genuine. He's sympathetic to people, and he's been a great president the time that he's been in office.
right, I
He's done a
agree.
lot of things. He's got a lot of things accomplished. He's made a lot of first things happen
yeah.
with, picking black female for his vice president, the infrastructure bills, the reduction in
He did.
insulin for seniors. He's done a lot of great things, really
Yeah.
good things.
Yeah, he
And I
did.
think he has respect around the world. And the thing that put him in the position that he found himself in is just that Father Time finally caught up with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I give him his props. He did 50 years in politics. I don't know how the hell he did that. Who would want to even do that? But he did.
Hell, he
And
ran for
I give him
president. He
his
ran for
props.
president. He ran
And
for president
now
4 times. You know that, right? He
three
ran
times.
for
Yeah,
president.
3 times.
It
He
3
won.
times.
The
Hey,
third
look.
time is a charm. Third
Look,
time is a
I'm
charm.
gonna tell you what happened, why he decided to do it, right? Because after the debate, you know how the Secret Service, when he sleep, you know how the Secret Service, they on patrol and all this, right?
Mhm.
One of them found him in the hallway, right? And he was standing in the hallway, staring blankly. And he looked at the Secret Service guy and said, "Are you okay, Mr. President?" And Biden looked at him and said, "What you doing now?"
Hey, so
I'm
look,
thinking about.
look.
Come on,
So,
man.
hey,
How the hell you get
Pete,
here?
I gotta say this, guys. I gotta say this. So yes, he had that blank stare, but he wasn't the first. So I'm gonna name it really the Mitch McConnell stare, because
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell, during that speech or whatever he was talking, he stopped. It felt like 2 or 3 minutes
That was wild.
that it was just silent. Yeah. So I would say the Mitch McConnell syndrome. That's what he has.
I'm gonna tell you the thing about it is, my thing is, before he decided not to run, I still thought he had a chance because we went through 4 years of Ronald Reagan, who had Alzheimer's his second term. He
still had a chance.
had full blown Alzheimer's. You know what I'm saying? And look, I want to say that was a bad joke about Biden, but it was funny as hell though.
Well, listen, I'm thinking about when he won, when he was doing in the debate. I knew something was wrong because he was trying to talk and they kept cutting him off and shit. Then you see him mumbling, "Motherfucker, keep cutting me off." Okay,
I get to talk. I'm the president.
You gotta give him credit. Hey, look, you gotta give him credit. He was he's a real dude, man. He's a real. That's the kind of person you could go up in the street and stop and talk to.
right. Yeah,
He's a real dude. Right, he'd engage you. But I think if any of us tried to go,
I have to say this.
uh-huh.
I have always thought, like I said, I've never engaged in the political talk, but when C-SPAN first started, I've not been a fan of Biden, because Biden used to have some anti-black rhetoric for a long time. But he was the better choice 4 years ago for me.
But
You know
man,
what I'm
Yeah.
tell you, boy, them debates
Yeah.
used to be funny because they cut him out and he'd be like, "Yeah, okay, whatever."
saying? Yeah.
Hey,
I know.
hey, look. And that's not hyperbole.
Oh, my God.
That's not hyperbole either.
You did, man. Which and you
Yeah,
know
you got.
you try not to laugh, but that shit is hell. It is funny as hell, though, man.
Well,
Man,
well, in my house, we call him Uncle Joe because he remind me of Uncle Joe on the what's that Medea.
Oh,
So we call him Uncle Joe,
you know,
and also in a warm way too. You know,
right?
he just seems like
Right.
that old great uncle. You know, that just is around doing family functions. That always got something funny to say. You know, or does
I,
something funny.
I grew, I grew very fond of him because he was ready for a fight, man. Well, let's
yeah.
do some push-ups
Oh yeah,
then, goddamn
yeah.
well,
Yeah.
hey, you know he was feisty. He's feisty for his
it.
age. He,
all them
he's
times,
feisty when he wants to be.
all them times he fell off the bike and he rolled up and landed on his feet like Pee Wee Herman and said, "I meant to do that."
God bless him.
All right.
He'll have
Oh shit!
he'll have a good.
What I want to do, hey, finish Ken, then we're gonna take it on home, guys.
Yeah, man.
Okay,
Hey,
it's been
he
fun.
always, he always began his speech with, "The fact of the matter is."
Motherfucker.
Right? And this is not hyperbole. This is not hyperbole.
I'm just joking.
All right, well, look, this has been Strong Perspective Podcast. Like I said, we promote conversation. We definitely promote communication here. Great episode, guys. I'm really and truly pleased with the fact that you communicated how you felt, and it was very effective. Now, we don't come on here. Now, we plant seeds, but we don't. Sometimes we don't sow those seeds. But what we do is we plant seeds on how we feel about things. Now, if you were to ask us if we were giving you something to think about, yes, we do. We give you things to think about from our own personal point of view. So please go to our YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe there. You know what I mean? Leave a comment, just in case. I will answer everything. But we're here every Friday at 7:30. And understand our podcast, we have people who depend on watching it. Maybe on live or maybe later on our YouTube channel, where we know we have people that depend on our conversation. And we're grateful for it. I've enjoyed these last 2 years with my brothers and great guests like Ken and everyone else who come on, because we're giving up ourselves. Feel what I'm saying? Any last words, gentlemen? We're gonna take it on out.
Hey,
Gentlemen,
I just say, God bless America and protect our troops.
No doubt.
I'd like to thank you for your time. Once again, I've enjoyed the conversation. And Ken, as I tell all our first time guests, man, as long as the Armstrong brothers have a platform, sir, you have a place. It's
Thank you.
automatically recurring, man. Whenever you want to come on, talk to Keith, man. We'll get you on, bro.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Damon?
Peace. Be blessed, man. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Like I
Thank you.
said,
Same to you, my brother.
yes, sir. Like I said, hey, Ken, stay on them once we get off live for a couple minutes.
Okay.
Like I said,
Okay.
go like, share, and subscribe, man. Every 5 minutes, people, I want you to count it. Every 5 minutes of our episodes, there are some viral statements. You are welcome to taking those, especially if you have a bigger platform than us, you're welcome to take snippets of that and place it on your platform. But give us some credit. Tell the people where you got it from. And we appreciate that. Hey, we're a movement and we're going to continue on. Hey, this is Strong Perspective Podcast. Keith Barnes, Malika, thank you for your comments, folks. Vernon, I see you, baby. Thanks for everything. We'll see you next week. Peace.
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 Peace.